Good morning to all. Sri Swaminarayan Memorial College was a progressive institution from the year 1970 and at present in the pride of 15th Golden Jubilee year. The mission of the college was to serve the interest of the educational needs of the rural background students through excellent teaching learning process. In current situation, the teaching learning process in education brings out a measurable change in education and it varies from period to period, encompassing the view on the application of technology. It is obvious from today's pandemic situation that the discussion about the remote teaching learning process and subsequent methodologies was a highlighted sense of topic among the teachers community. In this regard, we hope that this webinar titled Remote Teaching Learning Process, a COVID-19 Perspective will probably ensure the insight sharing of ideas and concepts about the diversified remote teaching learning process through LMS platforms. Now I take this opportunity to introduce the speaker of this webinar, Dr. Anne Baby. Dr. Anne Baby, Assistant Professor, Rajagiri College of Social Sciences, Kochi, Kerala, is working as an assistant professor in the Department of MCA in Rajagiri College of Social Science from June 2008 to today. She is also holding the position of Assistant Controller of Examination for the Department of MCA from 2019 in that institution. Previously, she worked as a project assistant in IIT-MK Technopark, Trondheim, and in the BCA and PG Department of Computer Application in Marian College, Kutikara. She did her ISc and ICSE education in Indian School Certification, New Delhi, with 82%. She has completed her UG at Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, and PG at Bardha University, Coimbatore. To her credential, she was a rank holder in her MCA at Bardha University. She has completed the UGC minor research project entitled A Study on Neural Networks in Financing Forecasting Using Clustering at 2010. She has been a faculty trainer for the project management for the senior manager of NEC Communication Skills Japan and faculty trainer of MDP Decision Making Skills for Dubai Port Fair. She served as a faculty mentor in AICT Smart India Hackathon 2019. She has completed many online certifications in SWAYAM and a course entitled Understanding Research Method authorized by University of London. She has organized the UGC-sponsored conference and state-level seminar in Rajagiri College of Social Sciences. She has also coordinated the national-level workshop on Angular 6. She has attended nearly 50 conference and training programs and presented 11 papers in international conference, including IEEE. She has nearly 16 journal publications, including IEEE Explored and Scopus journals in the topics such as neural network, ops and mining, e-learning technologies, and exploratory data analytics. A recent publication are in the technology acceptance modeling in e-learning perspective, network path analysis, and security-based analysis for developing enhanced model in e-learning. She has a wide range of experience in the technology implemented in e-learning, and this was meant to need of the award in the current pandemic situation. On behalf of IKC SRMC, I welcome Dr. Anne Baby to share her subject content on the topic of remote learning, remote teaching learning technique, a COVID-19 perspective. Welcome, ma'am. Now, I hand out the session to Dr. Anne.
Thank you, Rajesh Khanna sir, for a wonderful introduction. These are times when you get to know that your information is too public on Google. Thank you, sir. So, good morning, everybody. Hope all of you are safe. We will start off the session today, a national webinar on remote teaching learning techniques in a COVID-19 perspective. Before we start, I would like to thank SRNM College, the management, the principal, the IQAC coordinator Rajesh Khanna sir, Dr. Preeta, and Dr. Sarvana for giving me an opportunity to share a few thoughts with you and to talk with such an august gathering on this fine day. I believe all of you can hear me, can see my slides. We'll start off with the webinar. This will not be a very techie kind of a webinar. It will be more of an interactive session and giving you more inputs and letting you know about the technology which is in and around us. As you all know, I will be talking about remote learning and teaching. The agenda will be, I will be talking about the new normal happening today, of course, remote learning and teaching, how to work together with students in the online platform, something about digital body language, online course platforms, a few tools for remote teaching and learning, a few tools for content creation, a few tools for student engagement, and we will even end up our session with a hands-on virtual exercise. Now, as we all know, we are in something called the new norm, where we always wear masks, we are having social distancing, and we are learning many new things. On the screen, you can see that, not only in India, everywhere in the world, people go to something called the new normal. The new normal is nothing but everything now is considered to be normal. Like, wearing a mask, not going for a marriage function, not attending your sister's daughter's function. It is considered to be very normal. This should even be considered as an opportunity to learn new things. Many of you might have registered for Udemy, Coursera 2 years back, and you might not have taken up even one particular exam. Now, these are the times when you can go into your 2-year-old Udemy, Coursera login, take up new exams, or either learn to cook something new, or you could even learn to knit. Now, it is not only the business organizations and the economy which is affected by the new normal. As you can see over there below, you can see on the screen, it is a lady over there who's doing chocolate. She's wearing gloves. She's all in the new normal and she's trying to make chocolates. Even education institutions are affected by something called the new normal. We have to compulsorily go online. Traditional classrooms and traditional face-to-face teaching is now a dream for many of us. We all need to switch on or have switched on to the e-learning mode. And before I go into my session in detail, I would like to introduce my institution, Rajagiri. I work in a college called Rajagiri. It is quite a umbrella brand name in Kerala. There are a lot of colleges under Rajagiri. I work in Rajagiri College of Social Sciences. It is the first autonomous college in Kerala. We have been ranked this year the second cleanest higher education institution in the country by the MHRD. We have got the Swachh Bharat Award. Recently, we were ranked 28th best in the country by NIRF. We've always been steady in the 20s and 30s. Now we've got our best rank. We're 28th best in the country. And to double up the glory, we've been ranked 7th best in the country by the education world and India's top ranked private institutions. Coming to departments, Rajagiri College of Social Sciences, we do have lots of departments. Our social work department has been ranked number 2 in India, just after TIS, Tata Institute of Social Sciences. In a computer science department, we are the only department in Kerala to have been rated platinum consecutively for the last 3 years in the AICTE CII survey. Now, let's go to our topic, the new normal. Now, I would like all of you to see the small video before we go into the session. This is a video of a gate crashing which happened in BBC. Now, there was this particular newsreader. Just a minute, let me get my video on. Hope you can see this. Okay, this is Robert Kelly. Robert Kelly, he's a professor. He was having an interview in BBC on South Korean politics. He was being interviewed by BBC. And it was at this time, both his kids came gate crashing into his interview room. And then after that, you had his wife closing the door. This is what we call a new normal. Things go out of hand. But again, it is considered to be very normal. Now, let's see the differences between what is online and remote teaching. Many of us say that we are doing online teaching for our students. Is it actually online learning or are we doing a remote learning? Now, there are many studies which tell that online learning is something you do in the normal classroom setup where students have to work on computers. The normal classroom setup where students work on computers, like they access things from the internet and do it, you call it online learning. But remote learning and remote teaching is something where students and teachers, they are completely in a remote location. You might be in your homes, students might be also in your homes, and they follow a schedule, just like we have the timetable. They follow a schedule and then they do their assessments and things online. Okay, so actually the things which we are doing currently, it is more of remote teaching and learning rather than online learning. But everybody says it is online learning, but studies say that what we are currently doing, being in remote places and having the correct schedule as in a timetable, it is considered to be something called remote teaching and learning. Now, when we go into an aspect called remote learning and teaching, things have moved. Things have moved from etiquette. Earlier, you had things like dining table etiquettes, professional etiquette. Now, we do have something called netiquette. Now, all of us are going online on some platform. It could be Zoom, it could be Google Classrooms, it could be Teams, it could be WebEx. There are a basic few netiquettes which have to be followed. The first thing is be prepared. Preparation. Preparation is very, very important. You have to check whether your headphones are working, whether your audio is working, whether you have a very good internet connection. You have to be prepared both personally and technologically before you go into an online class. Of course, check your surroundings and dress appropriately, because there have been many instances we see in viral videos that people walk away with their boxers on. The next netiquette is mute yourself. Be sure to mute your microphone and then switch on your microphone only when you have been asked so by the host. Use headphones so that you have good clarity to hear things. And even the people around you, people in your home, are not disturbed. The next thing is you have to ensure participation of your students. Now, there are many ways in which we can ensure participation of the students. The first thing is you should be telling them to be focused, pay attention to what you tell, and then to be an active participant. The next thing is chatting. Chat responsibility. Chat responsibility. There are many instances where students, they chat with each other. Those are things which can be discouraged in classes. And you being the host, you can set up an option to chat only with the host so that all these in-between chit-chattings are disabled. Now, earlier we had the 3 monkeys of Mahatma Gandhi, where you had a monkey closing his mouth, closing his eyes, and closing your ears. Okay. Now, things have changed drastically. Things have changed drastically. In the era of new learning, it is like mute yourself, mute your audio, mute your video. Okay. So these are the 3 new monkeys of Mahatma Gandhi. Now we'll see like how to engage an audience. As all of you know, taking online classes are not an easy job. Making students sit in through your class, making them engaged, making them focused is not a piece of cakewalk. It requires a lot of effort from the side of the teachers. Now, there are a few ways in which you can do it. One is you can make your hands dirty. Like, in almost all the tools which we use, we have something called a chat box. We should be making maximum use of the chat box. Like all of us are on Zoom, we'll do a very small exercise. Could all of you open up your chat box and simply type your first name? You need not type your whole name. Like, if you are a person called Anu Rasini, just type over there Anu. Ganesh Babu, you could just type Ganesh. Lavanya, you could just type Lavanya. So come on, let's do that. Okay, that's quick. Good. Come on. I have names coming up. Suma, Kumaran, Urmila, Rajalakshmi, Shiva. I typed my name, Anne. Okay. So these are things which you can Yeah, I've got many names coming up, many names coming up. Very good, very good. Now, these are things which you can make your class compulsorily do sometime in between the session. Tell them randomly, give them a question, What did you have for breakfast? Okay, you have to get them out of the mode of online, because engaging students in an online class is very, very difficult. Give them a very simple question. When did you sleep yesterday? What time did you get up today? What did you have for breakfast? Okay, which movie actor do you like? What did I teach you yesterday? Today's class, what did you like the most? Ask them very simple questions so that they can answer you in a single word. Okay, so that is a way in which you can engage the class. Another way is you can give them several number of case studies. Make them read and make them answer the next day. Another way is you can even give them simulations. There are a lot of online simulation tools available. There are even simulation tools which colleges buy, like the Harvard case studies. You can buy those simulation tools, and then you can make your students work. Another way of making students interact is through online assessments, because there is no way in calling up each student like we did in a normal class and then making them tell you an answer. So we can make it a habit, like, it will be nice if every week we have an online assessment happening. It could be just a very simple quiz of 3 or 4 questions, just to know that they have understood the concept. It would be very helpful for the students, and also it will help them to get engaged in your online classroom. So I'll just go with a few methods. One is you can use the chat box, case studies, simulations, small examinations, not very huge examinations, small examinations, and quizzes. Another way in which we can engage students is something called digital storytelling. Digital storytelling is something which was there around us for a long time. If I go very simple, a movie which you see is a digital storytelling, where you use pictures, where you use media, where you use lot of technical stuffs like editing, movie making, sound effects, VFX graphics, and then you are telling a digital story through with the help of a few people through technology. Now, as we are now in the remote teaching learning environment, digital storytelling is something which we can make our students do. As we all know, our students are much more tech savvy than us. They know technology much better than us. They know many more tools than us. I'll tell you a few examples of assignments or jobs which you can give for digital storytelling. Like if you are a computer science student or a computer science teacher, you can give them a small assignment or a small group work. It could be a group work. You could give them a group work like, do a digital storytelling on how handshaking occurs in computer networks. Handshaking occurs in computer networks. You will be amazed by the ideas which the students come up with. They can come up with 2 cars going on a road, the digital network handshaking happening over there, or they could envision it with 2 people, a man and a woman, going to a pub might be, and then a handshaking happening. Okay, so these are many ways in which we can make our students do things. It is not only computer science which can do such kind of things. There has been a misconception that these kind of things can be done only for computer science subjects. It can even be done for mathematics. Mathematics teachers, you can be giving your students simple assignments like application of calculus in real life. You will be amazed by the videos and the storyboards with which students come out. Physics, you can be giving something like show how nuclear fission happens. Your students will come up with fantastic videos. Tamil, you can give a very novel idea like depict the life history of a great poet like Thiruvalluvar or Madurai or Kamaraj. Or you could say like, show the works of any particular poet. They will do it very dramatically with the help of digital tools. Botany, you can give something like, how is photosynthesis happening? A very simple thing. How is photosynthesis happening? Students will depict it very well in a video. English, languages, you can give something like, depict the romance of Romeo and Juliet. Lady Macbeth's lament. Okay, the speech of Mark Antony. So these are ideas which all subjects you can be doing for digital storytelling. As we all know, students, they are a category of people who are very reluctant to hear lectures from teachers. But when things go very interactive, creative, and innovative like this, students, they will find online classes much more interesting. Moreover, remote teaching learning, it has a tremendous contribution to the environment. As we all know, colleges have been closed due to the lockdown, power savings, okay, 90% less energy, less carbon dioxide emission. Remote teaching learning will be the order of the next generation. The next thing is, how do we work together with students? How do we work together with students? Now, this is actually a question which many teachers pose. Now, almost all the software tools which we use now for online learning, they have an option called whiteboard. To make students work together with us, open up the whiteboard, throw up the whiteboard in the class, throw up your online whiteboard, and let students brainstorm. Let them brainstorm. Let them put in their ideas. Let them write whatever they want on the whiteboard. Because we must understand that the student lot, because of the lockdown, they are now very frustrated kind of a generation. Because they can't go out. They're not allowed to go out from their homes. Okay? No meeting friends, no catching up with friends, no outings, no chit chats, no tea coffees together. Okay, so let them brainstorm. 5 minutes of your class, open up your whiteboard for them. Let them scribble whatever they want. Let them interact with their friends. Let them tease their friends. Okay, have fun with them. So this is one way in which you can work together with the students. I do this regularly. I open up my whiteboard for them, and then they scribble whatnot. They scribble whatever they want. It is a way of them venting out. Another way to do it is in software platforms like Zoom, you have a concept called breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are a very, very efficient way of working together with students. Earlier, when we were in the class, what we used to do is we used to assign students into groups of 5, groups of 6 or 7, and then you give a particular work to a group, and then they will be submitting it as a group activity for you. This was what was happening traditionally in our face-to-face interactions. The same thing is even possible now with the option called breakout rooms in Zoom. Now, in breakout rooms, you can assign how many participants you want in each room. Like I say, I have 60 people in my class. I want to partition them into groups of 10. Zoom will automatically do it for me. My software, my platform, it will automatically do it. And then I will have 10 groups. I will have 10 groups of 6 students each. They will be assigned into individual rooms. They can have their brainstorming over there. They can come up with their ideas. They can come up with a common presentation. And me as the host, me as the teacher, me as the facilitator, just like in the class, you go and talk with each group, the same way you can go into each breakout room. You can go into breakout room 1, talk with them, get to know their ideas, get out of the room, go into breakout room number 3, talk over there, get out, next go into 5, 2, 4, 6, and so on. So breakout rooms are a very, very good tool for working together with students. Because in online teaching, one-way synchronous, after a maximum of 10 or 15 minutes, the students, their attention span will not survive. It is not like the traditional teaching, because they are sitting in their homes, so they will have all these distractions around them. So more than 10-15 minutes, getting their attention span is very, very difficult. So these are a few techniques which we can be doing to getting our students engaged. Now, when you take online class, the main problem is, how do you deal with Murphy's Law? As Murphy very correctly told, if there is a chance for anything to go wrong, it will go wrong. It will go wrong. Okay. Many of you might have encountered such things like, you were taking online classes, there was a power outage, your net connection went away. Correct. At the time of your class, your system did not work, your camera did not work. All these things will happen. These things will happen because technology also, it has its own nuances. Okay. So we should be learning how to deal with the Murphy's Law. The only thing is, keep calm, accept it. It is Murphy's Law. It will happen. But there are a few ways. There are a few ways in which you can deal effectively with the Murphy's Law. One is, you can always seek help. What we do in our institution is, when we take online classes, a student randomly is picked out from a class and is made moderator of the class. Okay. And it is this moderator, other than the teacher, who helps in controlling the class. Like if the teacher's power connection has gone or the net connection has gone, it is the moderator who then controls the class. He will take control of the class, call up the teacher on the phone, get to know what is happening, communicate with the students, and so on. You can even keep a moderator to keep track of your chat messages, because taking class together and even looking into the chat messages would be very difficult. So you can make a moderator to look into your chat messages and let you know what happens in the class. You can make the moderator the co-host of the meeting. So that is one way in which you can deal with the Murphy's Law, by having the help of a moderator. Another thing what you can do is, you can make use of fast.com. Okay. When I do classes, I always do tell my students to use fast.com to check what is their speed, internet speed connectivity. Okay. And even that is a hands-on which keep the students engaged. Somewhere randomly in between the class, you can say, come on, all of you, do fast.com and type in the chat box, what is your speed? So that monotony of class is taken care of. Another way is, you should always have a plan B. In case your Zoom doesn't work, you should be able to go onto your Teams. In case your team doesn't work, you should be able to go into your Google Classroom. So that is plan B. Now, there can be even another mode of plan B. Like we have both synchronous teaching learning and asynchronous teaching learning. Now, you can always have offline videos. You can always shoot yourself about a particular subject. Like let's say I'm talking about a subject called networking. I can take videos of myself, give a voiceover over the PPT, and shoot about a topic called protocols in the network layer, or protocols in the transport layer. In case my class is affected by the Murphy's Law, I can say, okay, go into your Google Drive, you will find videos over there which has all the protocols regarding the network layer. Please learn it for tomorrow. I will be giving you an assessment tomorrow. That could be your plan B or your plan C. In case you are not able to deliver synchronous, you should always have a backup which is asynchronous. Now we'll talk about something called digital body language. Now, Robert Montgomery, he has very clearly told, voice is only second. Voice is only second to facial communication in influencing others. How much ever effectively we take online classes, students, they will only prefer us talking face to face in a physical classroom. So taking online classes is not very, very easy. Now we can, but there are techniques in which we can make our digital body language better. That is why they say that uh, when you do online teaching, you should be like an RJ, a radio jockey. Radio jockey. Your voice, it should be full of energy. Your voice should be full of energy. You should be as if you are a radio jockey. I know it is very, very difficult, but if you observe, if you are traveling in a car and if you observe the way radio jockeys talk, you don't see them. All what you do is you only hear them. Their levels of energy are too high that you are glued to those radio channels. Okay? If I talk with the radio channels with respect to Kerala, we do have a radio jockey over here called RJ Neena. RJ Neena from Radio Mango 91.9. She's full of energy, full of bubbliness. I've never seen a photo of her anywhere, but still, if you take a survey across Kerala, RJ Neena is supposed to be the best RJ because that's her voice, her delivery. Okay, so teachers now should play the role of a radio jockey. I understand it is a bit funny, but still, this is how things should be working out. The next is your energy levels. Your energy levels should be very, very high, much more higher than you take a face-to-face classroom. The next thing is the smile on your face. Okay, even though students, they do not see you, they hear only your voice. Your voice should have that small smile. Then only students, they will feel happy about the class. So these are a few small tips which you can try next day for your digital body language. Be full of energy and then have that small smile on your face so that that smile is reflected in your voice. Okay. Now, online voice modulation. Online voice modulation is very, very important when you take classes. Now, I should be thanking Mr. Anand Tankaraj from Nolscape for having developed such an excellent 2x2 matrix. Now, there are two dimensions. One is the sound. You can either be loud or you could be soft. You could be slow when you talk or you could be fast when you talk. So these are the four dimensions. You could be loud, soft, slow, and fast. Now, he has developed a matrix which says when you are giving some instructions, you should be slow and loud. For example, if I give an instruction like, open up your browser and type www.google.com. You should be slow and you should even be loud. If you want to sell something urgent, you should be loud and fast. Like, see, students, I'll be winding up within a minute. I've got an assignment, another assignment to take up, so I'll be quick. That shows your urgency. You should be loud and fast. If you're giving a compulsion, you should be fast and soft. Like imagine you are telling about submission of an assignment. See, you should be submitting your assignments next week. Okay, they're due next week. I'm fast and I'm soft. Compulsion. Okay. The next is, imagine you're telling something emotional. You should be slow and soft. Like, you can tell, Raman, is this kind of a studying enough for your next semester exams? You should be studying more. You should be slow and soft when you talk on an emotional background. Okay, so this is a matrix which many of you can follow. Okay, you can have a 2x2 matrix, and you can be following these online modulations when you are taking an online session. Okay. Now, I will talk about a few online course platforms, course platforms which are very, very much used nowadays. All of us are very familiar about the Swayam NPTEL AICT. As we all know, if you take a 1 week, 2 week FDP on the Swayam network, it is considered equivalent to if you take a course in Swayam, it is considered to be equivalent to a 1 week, 2 week FDP. And then we have Coursera. We do have Skillshare. We do have Thinkific, Podia, Teachable, and Udemy. Now, all of us being teachers, we might have done courses in all these kind of online course platforms. Now, if you take any of these online course platforms, they follow either a closed model, a federated model, a silo model, or an open model. If you take, for example, Coursera or Swayam, they follow the silo or the silo model, SILO model, which is a single login model. You log into Swayam, you just have a single username ID. You are able to go through courses offered by different IITs, different NITs, different colleges. So you call it a silo, a single login model. You go into Coursera, you can be seeing courses which are being offered by the Harvard University, the Oxford, New York University. So many of them come in integrated together, and then you are being able to select courses. Now, a way of making students engage are the components which we give for students. Like for the rubrics, you can tell them to do a course on Swayam or Coursera. In our institution, what we follow now is being now on the online mode. For my subject, I've told everybody, you need not submit a written assignment. This semester. Instead, what you can do is take up a course from Swayam, Udemy, or Coursera and submit me the course completion certificate. Being autonomous, we have the freedom to do it, and that certificate, when submitted, I will be giving them a send percentage mark for their assignments. So these are things which we can make students do. Compulsorily taking up online courses. Now, when we talk about the various online course platforms which are available, I should be even talking about something which has been developed by the state government of Kerala. I know it is written in Malayalam. It's written first bell. Veetil oru Vidyalayam. Veetil oru Vidyalayam means a school at home. Now, Kerala is one of the states which started classes for all students from June 1st. Be it a college student, be it a kindergarten student, or be it a class 9 or a plus 2 student, school opened correctly on June 1. Be it any government school, be it any private school, or be it any polytechnic, any college, we opened correctly on June 1. Now, what the government here is doing is, all the private colleges and the private schools, they have their own modes of teaching. They either use the Zoom or the Google platform or WebEx or the Microsoft Teams. They use anything. But what about the students who cannot get access to all these? Because compulsorily, you need a laptop, you need either a smartphone or you need a desktop. Very minimum, you need net connectivity. A normal mobile phone will not do. You need a smartphone to access all these technologies, all these classes. So what the government came up with a channel. The government has a channel called Victors. It is available on all the cable networks. Classes started regularly from June 1, Monday onwards, where classes are streamed through the Victors channel. Very rarely are there homes in Kerala which do not have a TV. But again, a survey was conducted, and it was estimated that over 2 lakh students have no access to TV and internet. So what the government did is, we had funds raised up both from private NGOs, and then we started distributing TVs, laptops, mobiles to students. We even made arrangements that students, they could go to their nearby libraries, or we call them Vayanashalas in Malayalam. They go up to the Vayanashalas, they sit together, and then they watch their classes. This is a novel method which has been appreciated by various other states and even other countries to develop this model of an online platform. All the classes which are aired in the government Victors channel, it is re-telecasted because, Murphy's Law. What if you have a power cut? What if you don't have an access to a TV? What if your TV goes wrong? So re-telecast of all the classes are again being done. Following the same lines, I will talk about what is being done in our institution. In our institution, we do have a platform called ROLE, Rajagiri Online Learning for Excellence. This was indigenously developed after March 22nd, when the lockdown was declared. We quickly thought that there is a need for an online access portal. So one of my colleagues, Mr. Shiju Thomas of the Computer Science Department, he together with his team, he developed ROLE. It was completely developed in-house, where teachers can float courses. It works on the same model of Coursera. Now, as of now, I just took the statistics yesterday. 6 departments have joined in. 68 faculty have floated courses. Almost 798 students have registered for courses. We have not taken into account the final year students because the exams are over and they have left the institution. We are taking into account only the current final years and the current second year students. So 798 is a very good number. These are the number of students who have joined for the online courses. Now, this is how a course will look like. I've taken up a screenshot of Mr. Shiju Thomas, who takes a subject called Struts and Hibernate. Okay, just like in Coursera, we can have many weeks. Week 1, I will have a set of videos, a set of notes, and a small exam. If I pass the exam, I will go into week number 2. Week number 2 also, I will have the same things happening. Week 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. I can decide, me as a teacher, I can decide how many weeks do I want to float my course. I can say, after 12 weeks, you get a certificate. Okay. It might be after a semester, you get a certificate, 3 months. So all that can be decided by the teacher. The students, they can log into the ROLE directly by giving role.rajagiri.edu. They can access this portal anywhere from the world, be it their home, be it their hostel, or traveling anywhere. They can hear the audio, they can hear the video, they can see the notes, they can give the exams, and then they can go on to the next weeks. Okay. Now, I'll even show you another screenshot of how the ROLE platform would look like. I have gone into week number 3. In week number 3, there is a video which helps you to create a database. There is another task which helps you to connect, and so on. There is a PDF file, and then so on. So after this week 3, if all these are satisfied and a small test is passed, the student directly goes into week number 3. So this is an indigenous platform which our institution has developed during the lockdown so that the students can take courses and then get certifications. This has even been attached to our normal synchronous asynchronous learning. Like if you are taking up a subject, if I am taking up a subject called networks, I can have the same role for my networks where I can be adding in videos, audios, and whatnot. Now, as you all know, there are lots of tools for remote learning. There are lots of tools for remote learning. Zoom, very widely used. Moodle is open source. I was hearing Dr. Preeta telling that UGC is now giving regulations that all institutions should have Moodle account. Moodle is an open source, it is free. We do use Moodle. It is a very efficient software, a very efficient platform. You can give in test, you can do assessments, you can do your rubrics. Everything can be done through Moodle. A very widely used is Teams, Microsoft 365 Teams. Even Teams in Rajagiri, we use Teams. If you look in Kerala, there are many schools which go for Teams because if you have a Microsoft account, Teams is free. If you have a Microsoft account, Teams is free. Then there is Big Blue Button. Many engineering colleges in Kerala, they go via the Big Blue Button. And then you have the Google Classroom, which is very widely used. Then you have Cisco's WebEx. And then you have the Google Meet. Okay? Zoom is considered to be a very good platform because the history of Zoom is very, very interesting. The founder, Eric Yuan, he was actually having a long distance relationship with his girlfriend. His then girlfriend, 10 years later, now who's his wife. So he was having a long distance relationship with his girlfriend. And then he used to come down weekends to meet his girlfriend. He had to travel almost 10 hours. He had to travel 10 hours to come and meet his girlfriend who was somewhere in Korea. And he had to travel via train because he did not have much of funds those days. He couldn't afford a flight ticket. He used to come by train and he used to never get a seat. He was always standing during his 10-hour journey. So that was when the idea came up into his mind. Okay, why don't I develop something so that I can chat always, share videos always with my girlfriend? Okay, that time, in fact, he was working with WebEx. He was working with Cisco WebEx, and then he resigned WebEx, and then he started up his own company, and that is how Zoom came up. So no wonder, because it was developed for his girlfriend. Zoom is considered to be very, very user-friendly. Very, very user-friendly. It has lots of options. Now, we even have an Indian version of Zoom coming up called GeoMeet, GeoPrimeMeet. As you all know, Zoom meetings stop at correct 45 minutes. GeoMeet Prime, the advantage is you could go more than 45 minutes. It has been officially launched this month beginning. And the interesting thing is the look and feel of GeoMeet is very, very similar to Zoom. And the biggest advantage of GeoMeet is you do not have a 45-minute stopping duration. You can go on continue for hours and hours, and it is free. So this is an Indian version which we have come up with. Okay. The next thing we'll talk about is assessments and exams. Now, assessments and exams, they are a very, very big headache for online educators like us. Okay, how do we conduct assessments or exams online? Moodle has a very perfect system, like, you can either conduct it as a quiz, you can conduct it as a written exam, a short answer exam, or a long answer exam. Google Classroom, it also has options like quiz, short answer, or might be a survey. Teams, they also have options. Okay, so almost all the tools which all of you are using in your institutions, they have all these options for conducting assessments, exams. You can either grade them automatically, or you could do a manual grading. You can generate grades. You can do your AOL, assurance of learnings. You can do your objectives. You can check whether your graduate attributes have been satisfied. You can check whether your program learning objectives have been satisfied. Okay, you can do all the mapping. You can do the CO-PSO mapping. All that is possible through all these tools. But the biggest problem for online exams are, what if students appear for the exams like this? Okay, you are conducting an online exam. The student, in the comfort of his home, he open up his book and then he gives in his exam. You have no idea what he does. You have no idea what he does. He can open up his phone. He can open up another browser. In fact, he can open up another browser. He can find the answer in another browser, in another tab, another window. He can find the answer from there, and then he can type the answer into your Moodle or Google Classroom or Google Teams. Okay, so that is where we can come up with something called proctored exams, proctored examinations. Now, there are many online tools available for proctored examinations. Institutions, they even develop their own proctored tools. Now, I will show you a small example of how proctored tools are being used. Okay, now this is how a proctored tool is used. You give a student a username ID. Okay, together with the username ID, you make it a mandate for all students in your organization to have something called a secured browser, or a SEB, a secured examination browser, SEB. There are lots of SEBs available online. It is even proprietary. You can even pay and buy, or you could develop your own. There are many ways of getting SEBs. So students, they are to install secured browsers on their machines. Your Google exam will be possible only through the secured browser. Your system administrators will have to set it up in such a way that the exams can happen only through the secured browser. Students, they will be there on their laptops, on their machines with which they have a camera. They will show you their identification, and then you can check whether they are either doing a cheating or anything, because the whole thing, it is streamed and recorded on your college server, streamed and recorded on your college server. Now, I will show you a small example of how we are working proctored exams over here in our institution. Now, we have set up SEB, or secure examination browsers. Students are to install it. They can attempt the exam only through the SEB. The moment they attempt to open up another window or open up another browser, the examination will be auto-submitted. The moment they try to open up another browser or another window, it will be auto-submitted, which means once they are on the SEB, they cannot do anything else. We have given strict instructions to our students that this should be the positioning of the student, the computer, and their mobile phones. Okay, and then so that we get a live streaming of what is happening over there. Okay, I'll show you a small example of what happened yesterday. We had a small exam conducted yesterday by the department. You can see me. I had supervision, and I've just taken a screenshot of a few students over here. Just like in normal examinations, you have 20, 30 students to invigilate. You can look here, all my students, they are at home. They have positioned their phones correctly. I can see what is happening. In case I have a doubt, I can enlarge each of their screen, each of these windows, and see whether they are going into any other device. The browser has been taken care by SEB. Now all what I need to check is whether they go into another device or not. So this is a way that proctored examinations can happen online. Okay, as I know all of you who are attending this webinar, you are stalwarts in the subject. You are stalwarts in your subjects, but online courses, online teaching, remote learning, it is actually a first time experience for many of us, including me. It is a first time experience for many of us. So we should be getting to know that because our students are much more smarter than we are, when we give online examinations, there are always a chance that they outsmart us. So proctored examinations are actually, it is going to be the fashion of the day, because you never know whether they consulted their friends over the phone, they took up another browser, they looked into their mobile phones. So this is a method which we in our institution, we find very, very effective to conduct examinations. In fact, we have conducted our internal examinations, our lab examinations, everything with the help of these kind of proctored tools. There are several content creation tools also, out of which many are freely available. I've listed out something called OpenShot. They are video editors. OpenShot, Active Presenter, OBS, Open Broadcaster software. Then we have VSDC, Animoto. All these are freely available, very, very easy to use. Even a tech savvy, you need not be a very tech savvy person to use it. You could simply shoot your video, which you are planning for the asynchronous mode, put it in any of these software, edit it, and then give it off to the students. Okay. Now, together with that, I would even like to talk about something called RWOW, Rajagiri Web of Wisdom. As I was telling you, there are lots of content creation tools available. You can shoot even very simply, you can shoot using Zoom. Even Zoom, you can shoot your class video. You need not have the help of anybody. You sitting alone on your table, on your machine, you can shoot a video using Zoom. Now, what we have done is, we have created a video repository called WOW, Web of Wisdom, Rajagiri Web of Wisdom. Rajagiri Web of Wisdom is freely available on our website. All the video which we create, we post onto this Web of Wisdom. Okay, it is open to the public. Like role, you need not have a username, password. Any student, any college, any university can freely access. So we've given it as open source. Okay? You can see many topics over there, starting from balanced trees and data structure by Ms. Prema Thomas. You have consumer behavior by Dr. Smita Siji. You have CSR. You have importance of communication by Dr. Susan Mackey. Financial management by Mr. Ajay Lunawat. Evidence-based practice by Dr. Sajeev Rajiv, Department of Social Work. So these are various methods in which you can facilitate online learning teaching to the students. Now, engaging students is a very, very difficult job. Okay, because if it were in classrooms, things were very much easier. But now, students, as I was telling you earlier, they feel very drab or very frustrated when they sit at home. So there are a lot of tools which are available for which you can use for student engagement. You have something called Peer Grade. Peer Grade is a tool, a platform, which you can use to create assignments. Your rubrics can be uploaded over there. You can assign peer work. Imagine you want students to evaluate students. Peer Grade is a software which allows you to do it very, very easily. Then we have a tool called Kahoot, which helps you in giving quizzes to students. It's very interactive mode of giving quizzes to students. There is another student engagement tool called Pure. You can create games, interesting games over there. Games are created. You can create quizzes over there. Surveys can be created. All these are very, very easily accessible. Majority of them are free. And even you need not be tech savvy at all to use all these tools. They are very, very simple tools. There is this tool called Formative. Where you can give interesting activities to students. Formative itself has a number of activities over there. You can make your students join, and then you can give them activities. You can get the results real time and give immediate feedback to your students. Then there is something called Triventi. Triventi is a free quiz platform, a quiz gaming platform. You can create quizzes for students and then give it real time. You can even get to know whether the students are understanding what you teach. Then there is something called Storyboard. Storyboard is actually a very, very interesting tool. It is a very interesting tool which all the language departments can try using. The language, literature, communication, even the others can use it. But it is actually a very good tool for the people who are engaging in reading and writing skills. Okay, you have online storytelling, digital storytelling tools over there, and then even you have all these artistic works can be done. You can create storyboards. You can create cartoons over there. You can even create projects. For students. You can give them constant feedback. You can organize classes. Storyboard is an excellent tool which you can try using. Then we have something called Animoto. Okay, Animoto is actually even a video editing tool, which can help you in creating quick videos online. Then we have another very interesting thing called Flipgrid. Flipgrid, it was there long back. Now they've recently upgraded Flipgrid. You can use it to make 15-second videos to 5-minute videos. You can have lots of participants inside. All these are very, very interesting tools which you can use. You even have Coggle. Coggle is very interesting. Coggle is actually, it is a mind mapping tool. You can create concept maps. You can create networks over there. Okay, you can give many options to students and tell them, okay, draw a picture which brings out the correct concept map of a particular topic in a particular subject. Okay, so these are various student engagement tools which you can be using to engage your classrooms. Okay, now we will have a small virtual hands-on. I believe all of you have your smartphones with you. Please take up your smartphones. Open up any browser. Let's have an interactive activity. Open up your browser and type kahoot.it. Type in your browser kahoot.it. Okay. These are kinds of exercise which you can make your students do, so that things get more interactive. Okay, you will get a screen to enter your game pin. Give me a moment. Venkatesh sir, can you see a browser?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can see the code.
It is freely available. Kahoot is freely available. Now I am giving you a Kahoot game, a Kahoot quiz game, which I did set up earlier. Now this is the way how you do a Kahoot. You can try it in your class. It will be very, very interesting. Okay, now all of you might have got enter game pin. Please enter the game pin 92399937. Please enter a game pin. This is the game pin. Venkatesh sir, can you see the, yeah, and yeah, give your nicknames, come on. Very interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting. Okay, I get people coming up, come on. Preeta, Shankar, Swatika, ARC, come on. Given your nickname, given any name. I'll wait for some time. I will wait for some time. Okay. Now, by the time we wait, let me say how this game works. Okay. This game is more of to test your knowledge. You can use it for your students to test their knowledge. It even boost up your dexterity, your screen dexterity. Okay. The questions I will display on my screen. The answers you will be seeing on your mobile phones. Hope I'm very clear. The questions you will be seeing on my screen, and the answers you will be seeing on the mobile phones. And then you can click the correct answer. Okay. I'll wait for some time because you can, even if you're in a laptop, you can open up another browser and then type kahoot.it. I thought I'll make you use your smartphones because that's more handy. You might feel more comfortable with your mobile phones. Okay. I'm getting many answers. Malar, Tangam, Babu, Uma. Let's wait for 1-2 more minutes. Okay. Meanwhile, I have a question from Dr. A. Muthamani. Ma'am, can I please answer your question, Dr. A. Muthamani? She did ask me a question now. In case of school education, we need short time to prepare, but in case of higher education, it takes time. We are ready to work, but after COVID, we will be going back to traditional teaching. In this situation, why have we to go to remote learning techniques? Ma'am, I think I'll have to answer your question in 1, 2, 3 points. The first thing is, you have asked, why do we have to go to remote teaching learning? Ma'am, according to the new normal, there is no other way than remote teaching learning, because students, they have to attend their classes, they have to give in their exams, their results are to be out, they need to be placed. It is actually a vicious cycle. Only if we teach, they can get placed. The only teaching method possible in this new normal of the COVID situation is remote learning. I agree to you that preparation time is too much high, because earlier, if I needed 2 hours of preparation to go in for a session, now I will need 4 hours of session, because I will be having only a 45-minute class and I have to deliver proper solid stuff in that class. I do not have time for chit chat like in the normal class. I do not have time for a friendly talk with the students. I do not have any of that. Okay. So even, yeah, preparation is very much high. That is why we can go for an option called asynchronous mode 2, where I showed you. You might have seen what we showed called RWOW and roll, where we shoot videos and keep. Okay. These videos, they can be reused later on. They can be used later on, might be for a next set of students. Okay. And why we have to do it? There is no other way other than doing remote teaching learning now. Okay, I will tell you a very small example which is happening in Kerala. All schools have opened. Private schools, everything is open. Classes started June 1. There were a few schools whose classes did not start on June 1. Those parents, they started giving complaints against the schools, telling that fees. Okay, scenario now, there is no other option other than to go for online teaching. Question. Okay, there is another question from Ms. Karpis. A school in Kerala is using AR for teaching grade 1 to 5. What? There are many schools, ma'am, in Kerala. Interestingly, I feel proud to say that Kerala is considered to be the most literate, one of the most literate states in India. Kerala, yes, there are many schools which are using AR. Even we have news channels. We have a news channel called 24 News, where news is augmented reality, where the news happens augmented reality. Very recently, when we had the Indo-China conflict happening, we had the news reporters going in helicopters, landing on the lakes over there, walking through the bridges and all that. Yeah, there are many AR tools. There are many AR tools, but AR tools are not free, ma'am. It comes very costly. It is very costly. There are many schools. There are many schools. Even the schools in which my kids are studying, the kindergarten, they follow the AR classes in the kindergarten. My kids are in higher schools, but in the kindergarten they use augmented reality tools. It is to make things very interactive. Students will love that. Kids will love that. Especially kids will love that when you have a ball rolling down, or when you have an apple opening up. Things look very pretty. Things look very pretty. Schools, I think, can afford. Schools can afford, but I doubt whether colleges, I doubt. Even media houses can afford. As I was telling you, if any of you get an opportunity to go into YouTube, you can search 24 News Augmented Reality. There are many news sessions, almost once in every week, once or twice in every week. They have news which comes up with augmented reality. AR is augmented reality, sir. AR is augmented reality. Okay. Now we'll start the quiz. Hope all of you are there. We'll start the quiz. Now look onto the screen for the question. Look onto the screen for the question. Okay. I'll have the first question. Which day of July is today? Which day of July is today? Okay. I know it is a very simple question, but because we are in a lockdown, we lose track of the days. Whether it is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the dates and all, we lose track of. Okay. So quickly, give you have 2 more seconds to go. Which day of July is today? Oh, great. 12%. Okay. Give the correct answer. There were people who gave the wrong answer. No problem. Even I am not very sure what date is today. Okay. Now, we'll see the scores. Yeah, Kartika. Wow. Kartika is on the top. Kartika is on the top. Followed by ARC, Swatika, Sindhu, and Rajesh Khanna. So we'll go for a next question. We'll go for a next. Who created Zoom? Who created Zoom? We have options: Bill Gates, Eric Yuan, Ritesh Agarwal, and Mark Zuckerberg. Okay. We have 10 seconds to answer. I think I did give a small hint in my session today. Who started Zoom? I did talk about. Yeah, it is Eric Yuan. It is Eric Yuan. Okay. Many have given the correct answer. Let's see the new scoreboard. Oh, Kartika is stopping. Kartika is stopping with Jayanti. 30 marks back. Anyway, let's see. We have a few more questions to go. The next question, the red planet is. You should be able to answer this. Okay. Especially if you have your kids around you, you should be able to answer this question correctly. Is it Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, or Mars? Which is the red planet? Which is the red planet? Okay, you have 3 more seconds to go. Oh, yeah. Mars is the red planet. Oh, wow. Jayanti has come up first. Okay. Kumaran is trailing. Sindhu, Karthik, Yarsi. We've got the next question. True or false? I got at least one new information from today's webinar. You can be honest, no problems. I've got 4 answers, 5 answers, 6 answers. Answers are coming up. Very good, very good, very good. You can think and answer. At least one new technique or one new information did you get today? Okay. Okay. Majority of them got a new information. Thank you. Now we'll go for the scoreboard. Oh yeah, Jayanti is stopping. Jayanti is stopping. Kumaran, Sindhu, Karthik are trailing. We have 2 more questions. Which sea creature has 3 hearts? If you have kids around you, you should be able to answer this quickly. Which sea creature has 3 hearts? The whale, the octopus, the shark, or the sardine? Sardine, we call it matti or chala. I just had the English local name so that you get an idea about what it is. Okay. Oh, correct answer. Octopus. Octopus has 3 hearts. So you might be thinking, living with 1 heart itself is difficult. How does an octopus manage with 3 hearts? Anyway, we'll have the next question. Kumaran is leading now, 5074. Good, great. We'll have the next question. Very interesting question. If a plane crashes on the border between the US and Canada, where will you bury the survivors? You need your brains to answer this. You will need your brains to answer this. If a plane crashes on the border between the US and the Canada, where will you bury the survivors? Okay, no, correct. Survivors can never be buried. They survive. Very good. Okay, let's see the scoreboard. Kumaran is stopping. Okay, and now we have our last question. The webinar, Remote Teaching and Learning Techniques of COVID-19 Perspective, is organized by whom? A very interesting question. Is organized by whom? Is it the Department of Computer Science, the IQAC, the Tamil department, or the Physics department? Okay, give the answer. Okay, majority told the correct answer. It's offered by the IQAC of Sri Ramanaidu College. Okay, now let's see who's the topper. Who's the topper? Okay, 3rd place, Preeta. Good, Preeta. 2nd place, we have Rajesh Khanna. And the first we have Jayanti. Congratulations, congratulations everybody, congratulations everybody. Okay, now let's come back. Let's come back. Okay, so this is a way you can engage students. Okay, after your online class, just have a 2 or 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes for a quiz. Give it through Kahoot. Kahoot is completely free. Kahoot is completely free. I did not pay a penny for Kahoot. I am able to organize quiz with 100, 200 participants. Okay, not only Kahoot. Okay, all these tools which we listed over here. You can organize small quizzes for your students and make the classes more interactive and effective. Okay, I'm open to any questions if you have. I'm open to any questions. If anybody has a question, you can either give it in your chat box. You can either have it in your chat box or you could throw it up on me. Okay. Meanwhile, I would like to acknowledge Dr. S. Ganesh Ram, Principal of SSRM College, Dr. Rajesh Khanna, IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Preeta, IQAC Committee Member, Dr. Sharavan Kumar, Physics Department, our Principal, Dr. Binoy Joseph, our Dean, Dr. Bindya Varghese, Mr. Anand Sankaraj from Nolsky, and Mr. Anand Krishnamurthy, the Languages Department. Okay, I can take up any questions if you have. You could ask me any questions. Okay, so it's either you understood everything or you understood nothing. Anyway, as you all know, we are in this challenge of Corona, COVID, cases coming up everywhere, as Albert Einstein rightly told. In the middle of difficulty, there lies an opportunity. This is the best opportunity for you to become a master in taking online courses. You can shoot your videos, you can learn video editing, you can learn how to effectively convey things through the online. Consider this as a very big opportunity. Okay? I would like to thank each and everybody. I would like to thank all the organizers. I would even like to thank all the participants for having patiently listened almost 1.5 hours for me. In case you have any queries, any details regarding any of the tools which I depicted now, you can either call me or you could send me a mail. Dr. Preeta was telling that she wanted to know more about tools like Moodle Teams and all, but I did check with my system administrators. Hands-on sessions will be needed for that now, because teaching one way online, things might be difficult. But in case you want more details, I'm always ready to share. If anybody needs to contact me, you can contact me. Okay. Thank you, Ananol.
Thank you, madam. Sir, can hear you.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Myself, Dr. V. Preeta, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science from SRNM College, and one of the members of IQAC team, Sri SRNMC. On behalf of the college and the entire IQAC team, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks for this session. First of all, I would like to give a great thanks to our speaker, Dr. Ann Baby, who had spent most of her valuable time for us and giving interesting sessions with the games and some more information on the tools and the engagement tools related to the students. It was very interesting, ma'am. And it's my honor to thank our principal, Dr. S. Ganesh Ram, and a sense of gratitude for his constant encouragement he is giving us for every successful completion of our work. Thank you, sir. At first, the discussion about LMS happened among us just in a discussion forum. Mr. A. Rajesh Khanna, IQAC coordinator, turned out the discussions in the form of a webinar today with the excellent speaker, Dr. Ann Baby from Rajagiri College, Kerala. It's my honor to thank Madam Dr. Ann Baby to share her different views on remote teaching learning techniques. In spite of her busy schedules, she shared our valuable time with us. I would like to thank the IQAC coordinator, Mr. A. Rajesh Khanna, for his meticulous efforts put forth for the success of the event. My special thanks to Dr. Saravana Kumar from Department of Physics, Mr. Venkatesh, and Dr. V. Lata from Department of Chemistry for their day and night testing for this technical streaming. Thank you, sirs and madam. And my sincere thanks to Dr. A. Rani Chitra, Department of Computer Science, and the member of the IQAC. And I wish to thank all the members of the IQAC for their work in the background for the success of this webinar. I would like to thank the participants from our college, nearby colleges in and around Tamil Nadu. My special thanks to the enthusiastic participants from Kerala, Maharashtra, Telangana, and Assam. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now it's our time to leave the meeting. Thank you.
And maybe we can wait for 10 minutes so that participant can copy the link for the feedback link. So
Okay, sir. Okay. The feedback link is will be posted in the chat box. The participants can copy the link.
I've been asked to share the Rajalakshmi, ma'am. Could you please mail me from your mail ID? I can share you the PPT.
Okay.
Rajalakshmi, ma'am, has a few of people have asked whether I could share the PPT. Very much, I can share the PPT. You can have my. I can share my contact details once again. Could you just send me a mail? Send me a mail. Please send me a mail in case you want the PPT. Please send me a mail to my mail ID. This is my official mail ID. I will send you the PPT. I will send you the PPT, of course, because I know there are a lot of tools in it. You might miss out many tools when you listen.
We may try any one of the tools for implementing.
Yes, you can, because the student engagement tools which I was telling, almost everything is free and very interesting to use.
Yeah.
Like for example, Kahoot. It is interesting.
Yeah. I feel that whenever if we go for traditional teaching also, it will be very useful to give a game for the students
the
to make them
problem,
more interactive in the classrooms.
The problem with traditional teaching, such tools, ma'am, you will have to tell the students to take up their mobile phones
Yeah. That was
in the classrooms, which I
Yes.
mean, I don't know about how the rules are in Tamil Nadu, but in
Yes.
Kerala, we do have rules from the government that students should not take mobile phones in their classroom.
Yes.
So such, because these kind of tools, majority, if it is laptop, fine. If you are needing to,
In the computer science labs, we can use,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yes.
When we are giving the lab
Laptop.
demos, when we are giving the smart classrooms or demos, we can use that.
Okay. When you do the settings itself and almost all the tools, you have an option to check either whether you want it through the smartphone or through the laptop. You can select whichever option you want and then you can administer it, be it anything.
Okay.
So these kind of tools, students will love it. And even
Yes.
you need not give all very techie kind of questions. You can give very interesting questions like this, and then 1 or 2 subject-based questions.
Yeah.
That is enough.
There's
One
no
or
other
two-
way to, we have to interact with the students nowadays. There is no other way. Plain remote teaching will not
Yes.
satisfy them, and they will also be not interested in that.
Another thing, what I normally do in my sessions is, you cannot get to see every student. So what I do is I always keep a name list next to me. I keep a name list of all my students next to me and to randomly call out anybody. I'll randomly call out, Abin, tell me the answer. Joseph, tell me what is this. They have no other option because, if it was in a traditional classroom, you post a question and you look into the eyes of one particular student, automatically that student will stand up and tell you the answer. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yes.
But
Yes.
here we have no option to look into the eye of the student. The only way is you call out the name of a student. The student has no other option other than to tell the answer. So I normally tell it, like, if you don't tell the answer, I will treat you are not present in my class. You will be marked an absent. So the student has no other way other than to tell the answer. So these are a few techniques which we can use in online teaching.